or rather, the Chihuahua of video games. And they give it a 7 out of 10.
Is it the Chihuahua video games?
Of course it's the Chihuahua of video games. That has to be the name of this episode. I don't see any other alternative. Welcome to Video Game Podtimism. It is the Optimist video game variety show where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming. My name is Chase.
It is a wonderful world. My name is David, and I think, Chase, you need to reintroduce yourself. This is a lame duck chase. A lame duck chase.
Yeah, true.
Because now we're going to have to start getting people used to Chad.
Yeah, Chase Dad is showing up soon. We were doing the math, and there is but this episode, and if nothing happens in the next week, there will be one more, and then we will be on podcast paternity leave. Mm-hmm. This could potentially also be the last one before podcast paternity leave as well. It just depends on how a baby do. But yeah, we're sort of in the last session of Chase Congress, and now it's Chad time. Chase Dad.
We have a lame duck Chase. It's Chad elect is coming up.
Yeah, the Chad in waiting. I like Chad in waiting.
That's waiting. Fun for Chad me. Is imminent. Chad's in the corner waiting to just take the reins.
It's going to be bizarre. What a strange way to propagate the species, you know?
You're doing it. You're keeping humanity going.
Yeah, for better or worse. You know?
Yeah, fair enough.
But holy moly, we're on the precipice here. But until then, it's video games time. Do you want to talk about video games?
Yeah, let's talk about games.
In a total swerve, let me just do the Manga Minute right here at the top, actually.
Oh, okay. How can you say let's talk about games? You're like, hold on, let's talk about manga.
I'm zigging and zagging right now.
This is big Chad energy.
I just want to hit a quick Manga Minute because I did read Hirayasumi. This is a kind of slice of life manga that I kind of knew I would like just looking at it and kind of what it's about. I was like, I'm probably going to like this. And sure enough, David, I read 6 volumes over the course of 24 hours.
Dang.
Man, this is good. This is good shit. This is good manga. It takes a lot for me to really like a slice of life manga. Sometimes I really find the lack of direction with the plot kind of grating, and I know that's the point, and which kind of makes it seem to me I wonder if this genre is just not my thing all the time.
Yeah.
But it uses it so well as the point of the manga too. And it's got so much to say, despite the fact it really is just about these two, I would say kids, but one of them is a 30-year-old and the other one's an 18-year-old. Hiroto Ikuda is one of them. And he befriended this old woman shortly before she passed. And then in kind of the setup of the story, she leaves him her home in her will. And so it's he just gets this house. And so the story essentially starts. I know. Yeah. I mean, that's honestly part of it of man, that would be so cool. And his cousin also moves in with him, who is a burgeoning, or she's trying to be a manga artist, and she's going to art school as well. And it's just kind of about their lives while they live together there. And it is so good. It is so nice.
Nice.
It has a lot to say about being productive and living a life in a way, and how those two things don't really need to be next to one another.
Sure.
And it's just so incredible. It's one of those great mangas too, where you get introduced to a secondary character and they suddenly become part of the main cast and get their own volumes and chapters and shit like that. And so if there's one person you're interested in, you're probably going to get a chapter on them at some point.
Solid.
It's just incredible. I love it. Yeah. Hirayasumi. The end of the Manga Minute. David, what video games have you been playing?
I have been playing some games, Chase.
Yeah. Tell me about them.
First game that I've been playing, To a T.
Oh yeah. So this is the Katamari Damacy creators' newest game.
Okay, that is very helpful because I'm man, this game has big Katamari energy the whole entire time I'm playing it. So yes, It is a Katamari Damacy creators game. Wow. Yeah, I saw this. I thought it was called Tote at first. I'm I'm gonna carry things around. Cool, let's try it out. And I downloaded it on Game Pass, and it's a very strange. It's a very strange game. It is fun. I enjoy it quite a bit. But man, this game is weird. So for anyone who doesn't know what this game is, it is a game where you are essentially taking control of this young child who lives in this very idyllic, beautiful little town where humans and animal humans live together and do things like a slice of life manga, like Chase has been reading. But the big deal with the game is that your character is stuck in a T pose. So it's like that very typical glitchy pose that some video games characters get in sometimes, where it's just your arms are just straight out to the side constantly like a T. And so you have to essentially...
I'm pretty sure it's how game characters like spawn into an engine.
Sure.
Like whenever they go into, like whenever you like put a player or like a character into a game engine, that's how they show up typically.
Yeah, this was a visit from game dev major Chase right here. You're welcome, everybody.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So yeah, you are essentially this character that for all intents and purposes has a disability in this game. And you just like have to navigate the world as this character with your dog, who is really like your service animal. Just goes around with you and helps you do all of your activities of daily living and your instrumental activities of daily living, if we're going to get very occupational therapy about it.
Right.
But yeah, I had no idea what this game was. I had never heard of it before, but I saw it and it looked fun, and it gave me Katamari Damacy vibes, which I loved that game growing up. And lo and behold, it's the same guy who created that one. And it's just a sweet little game. There isn't seeming to be a whole lot of a point to the game so far, which I think is totally fine. It's very much like almost episodic. It feels like they're trying to make it feel like a TV show in some ways. And it's fun. There's musical interludes. There is a giraffe who makes you a sandwich every day for school. There is a very fun pooping mini game, and a little character creator at the beginning. That's a joy, truly. So yeah, I've been really enjoying my time with this game. I'm curious to see if it actually goes anywhere with like saying anything, or if it just is kind of irreverent and silly and weird humor more than anything else. But yeah, so far it's been enjoyable.
Yeah, I heard from a lot of people that like they felt it was like almost too simple, like, or kind of a kid's game almost in that way. How is that landing for you? Do you feel like this is like too mechanically simple for you, or are you still having fun with it?
I would not say that it's a kid's game. I don't think I'd go that far. I'd say it's very simple, and I'd say that mechanics are not the point of the game. The point of the game is just to wander around this world and enjoy the setting and the story more than anything else. I'd say it's almost more akin to like a graph or a visual novel that's very interactive, as opposed to a kid's game, right? So I mean, you do deal with, they, or at least have hinted at dealing with some heavier topics like, kids teasing them, and, just dealing with school, dealing with family, dealing with mom stuff. There are hints of deeper, more interesting things being talked about in the game, which I wouldn't think, maybe they would be in a kid's game, but they wouldn't be like stuff for adults that's put into a kid's game. It wouldn't be the stuff that you would glom onto in the beginning. Whereas like if it was just a kid's game, it would be like, oh, it's the poop mini game. You don't actually see any poop, but you just like go to the bathroom and it's clearly a poop, or picking out your outfits, or dealing with bullies, right? But I feel like there might be something more going on, but I just can't say for sure yet because I haven't played all the way through. But it is very much in that Katamari Damacy vibe of odd, weird, kind of irreverent humor and situations that happen. Like what's going on right now is that your character finds out that they can spin really fast in a circle and fly, and that's essentially their superpower, and they start saving people. So we'll see where that goes from here, right? Could go in an interesting route, like as far as like the narrative goes, or it could just be a silly thing. It could be either, so we'll see. But I don't think I would call it necessarily a kid's game. I would say it is a game that kids can play, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily made for kids in mind.
Yeah, sure enough. It's I think with any of Takahashi's games, like you're going to get some experimentation in one way or another. And so like, I think that there's a world where some of that stuff feels simple just because it is like so experimental that you can't like go so buck wild with it, But I was really interested in this prior to it coming out, and I kind of like lost a little bit of steam once I heard that it was just kind of like a simpler game.
Yeah.
But I would be interested to hear kind of like how you feel about it the farther you get into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'd say it definitely is a simple game. I would not say it's without merit, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it's not worth picking up and trying just because it's not mechanically dense. And I mean, I would not even categorize Katamari Damacy as mechanically dense.
No. Yeah.
So it's a fun story. It's charming, I think, is really what it's going for. It's just trying to be a charming story about this kid, about being a teenager, growing up with a disability, right? Which I think is a fun twist on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Cool.
So I've been playing that. Yeah. I have also been playing Monster Train 2.
Oh, hell yeah. Talk to me. Tell me what's going on.
This game is very fun.
Yes, it is.
Talking about a mechanically dense game. This game has some mechanics going on that I really enjoy. It is there is a genre of game like this that just really feels good to my brain when I am tired after a long day. Like this and Balatro. It's like colorful math. It's colorful math games with cool visuals and music. And I think I have Math Blaster to blame for this. I think it all comes back to Math Blaster. If you are of an age, you know Math Blaster from being a game that was put on most school computers where you would fly around in space with a colorful person on screen doing math problems. Yep. And it was a fun game. I enjoyed Math Blaster a lot. And it taught me how to just chill out and enjoy math. And I feel like these games are hacking into that and making me just like relaxed from a long day of work, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I'm really loving Monster Train 2. It's fun.
It's like mentally stimulating enough that your like conscious brain can't really get involved with other shit. You know, like it's like your actual brain is just like, all right, let me figure out where to put like this monster on this floor, and I wonder if it'll do this thing. Whereas like sometimes if I'm like if the game is too easy, if I've got nothing going on, I'll start thinking about other stuff. Yeah. And like that's not what I want. I really just need to be focused on like one simple task. Yes. Simple, quote unquote. But more so like you're just kind of trying to optimize, you know?
Absolutely.
And it lets the rest of your brain and body just kind of like, I'm just going to focus on this for a little while.
There's no time limits. It's just like take your time, figure out where you want to go, and then it battles for you. Yeah. Which is nice. I enjoy that. And then watching the battles play out is fun. It's visually entertaining and interesting. I do agree with what you said that this game wants you to be kind of like more aggressive and combo-y with what you're doing than the first game where you could just put one big shield boy in front and with one very strong character behind them. And that was kind of just the meta. Yeah. This one, definitely wants you to experiment more with the mechanics and the different things you can do with the cards and like the equipment cards that you have now and the very unique ways that each clan works, right? So yeah, there's just a lot of different permutations and ways to play this game, and each time you play it, it's just fun. And there's something about just the length of the battles too, which is very appealing. It's just like, 10 to 15 minutes ish, right? Each time that you go into a specific battle, and then you get to choose some cool things to do afterwards, then you're back into it. It's just a very pleasing loop as far as time goes as well. It never feels like I am burdened by the game, that I'm stuck in a very long battle. It's just like, I just pop in, pop out, choose a couple things, and I can stop if I want to, and then jump back in later. I think they really have the timing of their game down very well with this one. It never any one part of it doesn't seem to really overstay its welcome. Yeah.
I am flying through these matches. If it takes you 15 minutes, David, I'm going so quick through these battles.
Maybe I'm overestimating, but I would say that that's like the longest, and I haven't done too many, so I'm still doing a lot of like tutorials as well.
Yeah, when you're learning the mechanics, it does take a while to be like, okay, so what does Valor exactly do? Yeah, and like how is that going to affect a lot of everything? And like, yeah, for sure. It feels like once you're like playing and you know all the mechanics, you go pretty fast through them.
Like a train. You run a train on the train.
Like a train. Huh. Yeah. Interesting.
So you like that one?
Yeah, that's fun. Also, what is your battle speed? Are you doing like the 4 times speed or the 1 or 2?
I did not do the 4 times speed. I'm just regular
that's
speed.
The one, baby. TV. Just regular. Oh my God. Yeah, that's why it's taking so long.
Chase, I can't listen to podcasts while I'm playing games. I can't play games while I'm watching TV. I am like a singular activity at a time person. My brain doesn't work at the same level that yours does.
Oh man. Even if I was just doing this, I think that somehow makes it harder for me. Like if I was just playing this and watching it on 1x speed, that feels so slow to me.
Tell me you're neurodivergent without telling me you're neurodivergent.
Yes, for real. Yeah, like I just hit me with the sounds and colors, baby.
Can we speed this up just a little bit?
Yeah. What clans have you played with so far?
I've just really been sticking with the Pyre,
the two
Pyreborn, whatever they are.
Yeah, the dragons and the angels, I think.
Yeah,
are the two.
The Drangels, Engans.
Right. Yeah.
The
Engans.
I just want to figure out how to really like grok one and then move on from there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like I'm getting locked in with that group though.
Yeah, they. I mean, it's such a fun game because like there isn't always one way to play one of those clans. I think initially they are kind of trying to have you figure out what Valor and what was it, Pyre Starter or something like that. There's like the Pyre Gel is the mechanic where it's like you do more damage to them the more they have on them.
Gotta lube them up.
And they're really trying to gotta lube them up. And you really gotta like figure those two things out, especially the Valor mechanic, because you typically start with a couple of those cards where it's like it gives a character 2 Valor and then also advances them in the train.
Yeah, puts them forward. Yeah.
And I think it's that combination of clans is really smart to start with, because I think it is teaching you 2 things that are kind of immediately different than the last one, in that like Valor and advance, the advance mechanic, meaning like you just move around, is different than the last one. And I think it encourages you to be more dynamic with your characters because they have to move left and right a lot more often. Again, like we were saying, the meta before was like, just put the big boy in front and your damage dealer behind them, and like that'll work. But with advance, it doesn't really work like that. You need to be able to like move people around a lot for it to work correctly. And the same thing with Pyre Gel, in that it's telling you like your best bet is to build up a lot of this until the 3rd floor, at which point you kind of cash in all that Pyre Gel, right?
Yeah.
Of like on the 3rd one, that's really the one where you're going to be doing the most damage. And so like, does it behoove you to put the characters who do a bunch of Pyre Gel lower and then kind of like let them build up until the 3rd floor, which is just like so not the vibe of the last one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think it's a clever way of just like signaling to the player like this is a little different than the first one, despite the fact it like I'm pretty sure looks like it at least runs on the same engine. Like the game looks very similar to the first one.
Absolutely. I think they've done a good job of making the game feel unique from the first one, but not so different that it's jarring or shocking or annoying in a way. Like, you know, if a game changes it up too much, you're like, wait, I like what was going on in the last game. I didn't need you to change it too much, right? They did a good amount of tweaking that makes it feel fun, but encourages you to play in a slightly different way without really changing what made the game enjoyable in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I also really like this game. Like, I have definitely still been playing it. I haven't really brought it up because I don't have a ton to say about it, but like it has really occupied my playtime. Like it's just so good.
I could see myself just sinking hours into this game because when I first just booted it up, I was just like, all right, let's go. And then it was like 2 or 3 runs later, I'm like, my brain feels so good right now. Like not every video game,
very relaxing.
Not every video game I play makes me feel good physically. There's something about this game that I have a physical reaction to this game where I feel like relax and good afterwards. It's just like the right amount of neurotransmitter is released while I'm playing this game. I'm just like, yeah, Monster Train 2, let's keep going just a little more.
Have you watched Solo Leveling, the anime?
Yes, I've watched. I've read the manhwa as well, the whole thing.
Yeah, so not to go back to the Manga Minute, but just to talk about the anime. It's like you're giving yourself like an in-game buff or like an in-game like health potion whenever you play Monster Train 2.
Yes. Yeah, it is the system. It is giving me boosts, stat buffs in real life, IRL. That is nice. Yeah. It does feel good. What are you playing this on? Are you playing this on the Switch or are you playing this on something else?
So for a while I was playing it on PC and just using Moonlight to play it on my handheld. But recently I was like, I'm going to be on a plane at some point and going to want to play this on the Switch because like I can't obviously play Moonlight with fucking Wi-Fi on a plane. Like it's never going to work. And so I just brought it on Switch again because like I got to play it on Switch, which was a little bit of a bummer because it doesn't run nearly as well as it does on PC, obviously.
I heard people saying that it hasn't been running well on Switch too, which is a bummer.
Yeah, it's like the frame rate isn't quite as good as I would expect it to be for like a game that doesn't seem like it's that complicated, like not that demanding as far as resources go. But like, you know, it's just not that intense of a game to begin with. So like, I don't need it to be running at 60 frames a second. It was just kind of like a noticeable downgrade once I fired it up on Switch. You know, I don't think that's going to be something they patch out, but they could. Maybe it might be possible to, you know, uncap the frame rate or something. Like they could have just been building this with Switch 1 dev kit and then, you know, just added whatever that was to the second one.
Sure.
I have heard that like there's been a lot of indie developers that haven't been given Switch 2 dev kits. And so like that's why you didn't see very many indie games like on launch on the Switch. And potentially why something like this maybe was like tested on the Switch 1. And so they're like, let's just cap it at 30 frames a second. And then, you know, maybe once they get their hands on this one, they could update it. But this is all like literally hypothetical. I have no clue. But I do know it has been hard to get a hold of them for the indie devs. So, you know, fingers crossed, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, good game though. I'm really enjoying it. I've unlocked all the clans at this point, and I'm loving it. I agree with you that like the pull to just play it forever is there. Yeah. Just because it shows you every iteration of the clans that you've won with after you play. Yeah. And so like there are so many permutations of clans that will be like, well, I haven't won with this combination of clan before. Yeah. And each clan also has 2 heroes that you can use. And like each of those heroes has like way different mechanics. So like it's good. I'm just like, I gotta play a lot of this shit, man.
It's a requirement.
Yeah. I like it. I like this game. I'm glad you're enjoying it too.
Yeah, no, it's I enjoyed the first one. As far as like deck building roguelikes go, Monster Train is probably the one that I had the most fun with of the ones that I've played so far. So yeah, I'm glad that this one's good too.
It is, I feel like, one of the games that wants you to have fun the most.
Yeah, I feel like Slay the Spire really wanted to challenge me and like beat my ass a little bit. And I'm like, I appreciate that, but at the same time, it felt like a lot to learn and get better at. Whereas Monster Train is like, yeah, kick some ass. It feels good, right?
Have some fun.
Yeah, have some fun. Look at these cool characters. Yeah.
I've like, I haven't really talked about this on the pod, but I've kind of been dipping just like my toes into every Switch 2 game that I can.
Okay.
Just to kind of see like, does this one run better? Does this one feel any better? Like, how does this one hold up? And I've been like downloading a bunch of roguelikes just because I was like, oh, like I can get a feel for, are those games any different really quickly rather than like, you know, how deep into Astral Chain do I need to be before I can tell like how much better it is. And so like I've been trying like Binding of Isaac and Dead Cells as well. And something I've noticed is that like those games really do, there's different levels to how intense they want you to have to work for a victory. And I think Dead Cells is on one side where like they kind of want you to be able to get a little bit farther, maybe the first few times you play. Yeah. You know, like in comparison to something like Spelunky, where it's like they kind of want you to die almost immediately so that you can sense like, I have to be so diligent with this game. Yeah. Like I need to be so careful. And so like, yeah, it seems like Monster Train is just on kind of the Dead Cellsy side where they want you to be having fun. They want you to like have a couple of good runs pretty regularly. Whereas like the first good run I got in Slay the Spire, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I can't believe I did it. Like it's a miracle that I've gotten here. Whereas sometimes, again, just in Monster Train, sometimes you just get the right fucking cards. Like, I think it's possible usually to win with most runs, but sometimes you do just get dealt a good fucking hand. And it's like, this is just an unbeatable combo. I cannot be taken down.
It's fun to hit the jackpot. I feel like that's what it lets you feel like, right? RNGesus has smiled upon you in this moment. And now you're just unfuckwithable. And it feels good. Yeah. It feels good. It's a good game.
Yeah.
I've also still been playing Mario Kart World a lot. Yeah. Not much to say about it, except I feel like I'm getting better at it. And Yoshi might be my character in this one. I think I've been kicking ass with Yoshi. Aristocrat Yoshi in particular.
The costumes in this game are unbelievably good. They really hit the jackpot with that one.
Yeah, they really put some extra special sauce. I didn't know I needed Yoshi with a top hat, cane, and monocle, but I absolutely always did. I just needed that character. I'm curious to see if they continue to release new character models for this game. I hope they do, because I think that they They really add a lot of personality to it. But the one thing that I do have a small issue with is why are they all so far away and spread out throughout the character select screen? I know you can sort by character individually, but it just seems weird. I get that you're trying to make them all feel like they're a unique own character, and I appreciate that, but let me see all the Waluigis at once. Let me see them all.
It does feel like it should be like a drop down or something, or like another select screen.
Yeah.
Like when you click on Waluigi, you can select one of his 8 costumes or something.
Exactly. Like what they did with the in Mario Kart 8. They did that with the Koopalings, I think. Yeah.
And that's how it works with your cart too. So like just add another one of those screens in there.
Exactly.
But I think you're probably right that they will add more costumes. I think Brendan over on Into the Aether has mentioned multiple times that he's like, Donkey Kong and Rosalina specifically have 2 costumes, and Donkey Kong Bonanza is coming out soon.
Yeah.
So like, there's no way they don't have
They're clearly gonna add more
costumes waiting.
Yeah.
Because like that game, I don't know if you watched that like longer direct about Bonanza, but like
I did. I had big banana.
There's a lot of
big DK banana.
It's very exciting, but there's a lot of costumes in that game. That's like a big part of it, and so it would make a lot of sense if they were to just continue to add costumes. Again, like it's not a low effort turnaround, but like it's lower than adding like a whole new course, and I think like it would just be kind of thrilling to be like, oh my god, they added more shit today or whatever.
Yeah. Do you think that whenever the inevitable Super Mario movie 2 comes out, that they will add like Chris Pratt and Seth Rogen to the game?
I don't know. Like you're talking about like their voice actors
their
of Mario?
versions of those characters in the game, right? Looks like a CGI character in the game, and then when you do tricks and stuff, it's like Chris Pratt going hoo-hoo,
Yahoo,
and Seth Rogen doing Donkey Kong noises, you know?
I'm so in favor of Seth Rogen being in this as Donkey Kong, but I bet they wouldn't. I bet they wouldn't do it. Just like Nintendo feels so saccharine to like not like to put anybody on blast, but like sully the video game by having like a movie tie-in with it, you know?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know this Nintendo anymore, mate. I wouldn't be surprised. That's all I'm saying.
It's totally possible. I just think that like there is a like weirdly a kind of high amount of creative purity in this game.
Yeah, I believe
like it's interesting that they took out like the like Villager and Link and stuff like that, because they're like no, none of those. It's just Mario Kart. Like it's only the Mario characters, you know.
I do respect that decision.
I do too. Like the more I play of this game, the more it does feel like they are doing something here. It's a swing to do this kind of game. I think it would be pretty easy to just do Mario Kart 9, you know, like to just put out a sequel to 8 and be like, we're good. Like it's just more of the same. It's more maps and it looks a little better, but it's very Nintendo for them to say like, yeah, we could do that, or let's try this other thing. And it is ambitious. Like we've definitely said this before, but like I am always more interested in the thing that might not work than the thing that will definitely work. You know, even if the thing that will definitely work like is quote unquote better. This is still like a thrill to be like, man, they're really going for it in this one. They
put all their energy into it.
They did. All that said, I would still love it if they added just a regular old Grand Prix into this one. That it still feels like it's missing.
They can patch it in. Come on, Nintendo, you can do it.
Yeah, like just make it an option maybe, because again, like Knockout Tour feels great. Like it feels phenomenal to play Knockout Tour, and Grand Prix just kind of still feels like I don't know, like doesn't feel amazing right now.
No, I agree. I stand by what I said last time, where I don't know why you need to have Grand Prix be the way it is when you have Knockout Tour. Knockout Tour just makes that kind of redundant. That's just my opinion though. But yeah, still a very fun game. Really enjoying it.
Yeah, totally. Me too.
Chase, what have you been playing?
I got 2 things for you, and they just couldn't be any different.
Yeah.
The first of which is that I would like to check back in with Pokemon Scarlet, David.
All right, let's hear it.
I've really turned a corner on this game in the last week or so.
Okay.
So Pokemon Scarlet, talked about this, I think the past couple weeks, and it has gotten quite the update for Switch 2. It runs a fair bit better. I think I had mentioned that like still the world design and the art design is not amazing. So you can definitely still feel it. Like, it didn't work out every single issue.
Yeah.
but that it was easier to play through it for me because like I was still enjoying enough of the rest of the game that like the performance wasn't holding me back at this point.
Yeah.
All that said, I got to the end of the game and essentially I'm not going to like totally blow it, but so you're safe from spoilers, fear not. Sure. But also it's a Pokemon game. Like you fight Team Star and they're like, oh no. And like you beat the Elite Four. But there is like sort of a secondary thing. And there's these 3 kind of quest lines that are running throughout most of the game. Like I said, it's the Team Star stuff where you just go and fight like kind of a boss. Mm-hmm. There's the more traditional gym battles. And then there is this guy, Arvin, who you've been helping him like fight these like Titan Pokemon. Uh-huh. And he is collecting these like mythical sandwich ingredients to help give to his Pokemon that's like sick, essentially. Uh-huh. Speaking of which, I would like, this isn't the way it goes, but I was really hoping that they were going to like do like a homeward bound kind of, you've learned so much, but you need to learn to let go kind of deal. Mm-hmm. It is not that in this game, but regardless, all of those quest lines, once you beat them, culminate in this like final quest line, which actually does work really well. And there are these like 3 main characters that are running throughout each of those quest lines. Arvin is one of them. Nomura is one of them. She's like kind of your rival, which I really like her, by the way. She's your main rival in Scarlet. Mm-hmm. And she's not in the model of either a shithead model, not a Gary, and also not one of the people in Pokemon X and Y where they're just like, we want you to kick our ass. Uh-huh. Please, we beg of you. We're terrible. Yeah. But she's like treated much more as like, she's already beaten the Elite Four and she's just like stoked on you becoming good at Pokemon fighting and battles and stuff. Mm-hmm. And she's just like kind of head empty, want a Pokemon battle. So like, I like her a fair bit. But her and then a third character who I won't ruin, but you all go to this like other space that you haven't been to before. And there's like a lot of chatter between them. Mm-hmm. Not like voice acted, obviously, but like the world feels suddenly, or these characters at least feel way more real all of a sudden, because these people who have like been pretty flat for most of the game are suddenly talking to one another. And it's like, I wish that had been there the whole time in a way, because like it really turned me around on like, oh, I like these people suddenly. Like this is interesting to see who they are and like what their deal is and how they interact with one another. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so like, I really liked that. And that quest itself is pretty fun too. There is also such a Nier Automata track that plays at the end of this game, like straight up out of Nier Automata, which I thought was incredible and such a strange needle drop at that point in the game. Mm-hmm. And the last like actual like big story battle, I was like, this is good. It's fun. Like they're doing some pretty dramatic stuff and I'm having a good time with it. So like, I'll say the end of the game I found really great. It was a strange part of the game to be so buried, but like they ended pretty strong. And so like, yeah, I'll come back to that in a second, but I almost immediately was like, all right, I got to check out the DLC because I hear the DLC is really good. Mm-hmm. I have only so far checked out one of the DLCs. There are 2, but I've checked out the first one, and essentially you get this invitation to kind of like go like not study abroad, but like you're taking like a field trip essentially. Yeah. And it's in this kind of like rural part of it's like another area altogether. Mm-hmm. I think it's potentially that it's supposed to be in Johto somewhere, but I don't think they ever like directly say that in the game. Mm-hmm. But yeah, essentially you go there and it's kind of this like, it feels like a field trip. You're there to kind of like learn about the traditions of this village and like its folklore and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it's really great. Like I'm really having a good time with it. Because I think that the level design and the world design is way better in this part of the game. Like it is a smaller space, and I should say it's a totally different map. Like it's not on the map that you played the base game in, but it's this other kind of space that you can explore. And I think they just got it better. I think that they like had enough experience and like built a cooler space. Mm-hmm. I'm always a big fan of rural areas in Pokemon. Like something about the big city, it just feels like in a space that they've explored a lot in Pokemon. Whereas like, it's really interesting to me to see like how a small town feels in a Pokemon world. Mm-hmm. And like you enter there and it's like you kind of, I think you're supposed to have just gotten off a bus or something. And the area around you is like the kind of like flooded rice plains sort of thing where like there's like kind of these hills that have like trenches that are all dug out so they can flood it with water. And then it's sort of tiered a little bit. So it's just a cooler visual space than I think the island is. The main island that you're on in the game, it's like supposed to be a school, right? right? And so it's all in service of being an educational space. But I think as a result, it doesn't always feel like very lived in. Just kind of feels like there's a big desert over there, I guess.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it's like you roll up, it feels like people live here for sure. And there's like a community center that you're staying in where people work. And I don't know why this worked for me, but like there's like kind of a small tent that works as the Pokemon Center, and the equivalent of Nurse Joy there, she's like scrolling her phone when you walk up. I don't know why that felt good, but like she's just looking at her phone. And I'm like, that's a person. Like she's doing shit that a person would do.
You liked her negging you. Is that what was going on?
A little bit. It just felt like, I know that's a human over there.
Yeah.
Or like you turn to the right and there is a like very small town, like shop, like open air shop. And it has this sort of like overhang with some fabric on top of it. And there's like a Vulpix sleeping up there. Like she just sleeps there all the time. Amazing. Like it does a lot to just feel like this is a place that people live and are, which is just really great. And something that like after playing the base game of Scarlet, I was like, I didn't really feel that in the rest of the spaces, but I think they nailed that with this one. It feels really cool. And the rest of this, the story is like a lot more fun to me because you go there and it's essentially about this folklore of there was essentially like an ogre that lived in the hills that would from time to time come down and like terrorize the villagers. And these like 3 guardians, kind of gesturing at the fact they're probably Pokemon.
Yes.
Would like defend the village every time that they came down there. And this ogre would only come down mostly during this mask festival that they would have. And of course you arrive there and it's like, it's time to do the mask festival,
of course.
And, stuff ensues. You can probably put 2 and 2 together there to figure out what's going to happen. But I just found it more charming. There are these 2 like brother and sister that are kind of at the center of that plot. They like live in this town, and you initially the sister is like very harsh on you. Like Pokemon like throws down the Pokemon gauntlet immediately. Is like, hey, you just got here, and yes, your other student colleague is motion sickness from the bus, but it's time for us to have a Pokemon battle right now. And
okay.
Unfortunately for her, she had like level 10s, and I just came from the Elite Four, so I was rolling with like the level 80 Garchomp, who's like, nah, man.
So you killed her Pokemon.
Great. Yes, no, they are dead. We had to bury them afterwards. But yeah, so they're much more charming than a lot of just kind of the whatever characters in the base part of the game. And I don't know, they just feel more interesting almost immediately. The sister is much more brash, and the younger brother is like very shy, but clearly interested in Pokemon and like Pokemon battling. And it's like excited that it seems like, their village has these visitors from outside. So yeah, it's really good. I'm really, really enjoying it a lot more. And I think that there's a lot of promise in the DLC. I haven't beaten it all yet, but like I'm enjoying what it's doing so far. And I have heard that the second DLC is like even better. Like it's really, really good.
That's cool.
So yeah, I also saw that you can catch like a shitload of legendaries in this game, but there's like an NPC that you talk to and he's like, hey, I'll tell you where they all are.
Like from all the different games.
So far as I can tell, like there's a lot of them in here. And so I am pretty interested to see if I can, catch a few on my own here. I will also say the other part of this game that I've been enjoying is that like once I beat the main quests, I did take some time to go back and be like, all right, I'm going to see if I can't fill out like a fair amount of the Pokedex now. And that's just like so much fun. That's a part of the Pokemon games that I really enjoy that I kind of don't always get the opportunity to do, because like for the most part, it is way easier to do that after you've beaten the game. Cause it's like, I have way more money for Ultra Balls. I have a higher level party and someone I can teach false swipe to knock them down to 1 health or whatever. And so it's much easier to get there. Plus you usually have like better traversal mechanics by that point too. And I just like, it's such a fun part of the game, especially in this one where it's like it'll show you the habitat of where these Pokemon are, and you can go wander around there and see if you can't find one, and it's just kind of a thrill. So like that part of the game I'm still really enjoying, and I think does actually work pretty well in the kind of 3D environment that they've got here, because you can just sort of like wander around a space looking for one specific Pokemon rather than like engaging in 40 random battles to see if you find it. So yeah, I'm like really enjoying that part of the grind of like trying to fill out the actual Pokedex. And when you go to that other DLC area, they give you like a new Pokedex as well of like, here's the Pokedex for this zone.
That's cool.
There's a fair, yeah, it is cool. There's a fair bit of crossover. So it's not like, you know, you have 200 new Pokemon. It's like you probably show up and have a fair amount of them already in there, but there are new ones that's like, oh, that they aren't in the base game. So like, I got to go check them out, you know?
Gotta.
I got to catch them all, David. So yeah, Pokemon Scarlet. I have turned a corner on this. I'm enjoying it way more than I was the past couple weeks with it. It is sort of a shame. This is kind of what I was getting to when I was talking about the end of the game. It's sort of a shame that they have made the best part of it very inaccessible.
Yeah.
You know, like I would say the end of this game and the DLC are so far the parts I've enjoyed the most. And to be fair, you can go to the DLC very early. It like scales with however many gym badges you have. And so once you do that first battle where you just like destroy the sister, the Pokemon like scale up a little bit. And so they'll be kind of whatever level you are, or at least around there. But the base game, like the best part of it is at the end. And that's also at this point with the understanding that I bought a new Switch for this, you know, like that wasn't the only reason, but like to get the, I would say intended and best experience and the best part of this game, it's really buried, you know?
That's so frustrating because like I would want to try it, but I just don't know if I want to spend so much time in a game or a portion of a game that isn't that great. To get to the good bits.
Yeah. It reminds me a lot of what you had to say about Kingdom Hearts 3.
Sure.
That, like a lot of it was not that good, but the end of it was like, wow, they really did it. You know, like the end of this is great. And that's kind of what it feels like here, which is so usually the opposite problem. You know, like I feel like games oftentimes put their really good foot forward and then it kind of falls off towards the end. Whereas it seems like this one was the opposite, where it didn't feel very good in the beginning. Like it seemed like they kind of hadn't figured out what to emphasize, and like the cutscenes are all very stilted, and the pacing even was kind of weird in the beginning of the game. And then by the end of it, they figured out how to do like walk and talks with these characters, and like the soundtrack is hitting different. Oh, I also say the battle music in the DLC is so good. It is
really
kind of nothing I've heard in a Pokemon game before. Like it doesn't sound like any of the traditional battle music, but it is so amazing. I loved hearing it every time it pops up. But yeah, like it seems like they kind of figured out how to make the most out of this game by the end of it. It's just sort of a shame that it is so far away from the average consumer.
What do they do? What do they do with the battle music? What makes it so much better?
I think there's a rhythm to it that's really fun. Like it's like
a Spanish style rhythm or something like that.
Just like the rhythm section is really amazing. I'll put some of it in the episode here so people know what I'm talking about. But it just sounds good. I like it.
Nice.
So yeah, that's Pokemon Scarlet. I'm enjoying it and will definitely keep playing it at this point, especially just because like I got to see that other DLC. I bought both of them, so I got to see what's going on in the second one.
Cool.
The other game that I've been playing, David, that like I said, couldn't be more different, is a video game called Cash Cleaner Simulator, David.
Cash Cleaner Simulator.
You're
cleaning money.
Yes, you are, David.
Okay. Why?
This is, yes, exactly. This is a bizarre video game. So just for full disclosure, I saw the YouTuber Memoria. She kind of popped off a couple of months ago with like her testing the vibes of PlayStation 2 videos or video. And she recently put one out about this game. And I had seen it and she was like, it seemed like she kind of enjoyed it, but she was also like, this is a very ridiculous game. And just watching it, I was like, I think I might like this. I think this is actually maybe a game for me. It is in this like kind of vague genre called the simulator genre. And that is at this point a pretty wide swath of games. There's a lot of stuff in that genre, ranging from like, I would call Gran Turismo a simulator game, right? Like that's a racing simulator game. But it also counts like Farming Simulator. That's a really different game than Gran Turismo is. Or even something like House Flipper Simulator. That's one that I played a couple years ago. Or like Gas Station Simulator or something.
Sure. Yeah.
And like, I think this game is closer to a house flipper or a gas station simulator in that like it is not necessarily that mechanically intense in your interaction with everything. And some of these games border on simple, right? Like I would say Gas Station Simulator is kind of like that, where I kind of just felt like I was clicking on things at a certain point. Like I wasn't actually playing. I was just like, the game was telling me exactly what to do at every moment. And I was like, I'm just going to go click on the shining part of this game.
Sure.
And that usually did it for me. But, and so my only reason in pointing this out is just that like, it's almost not nondescript to say that something is a simulator at this point, because it's like, I don't actually know what that means specifically. Like how does the game play? That's also my petition. Like we should probably come up with a new genre name for these different things. And I have seen some people call some of these games, like the simulator games, like asset model slop, where like they'll just put out the lowest common denominator game and they'll just buy their like 3D model assets on, you know, whatever store front has enough of them. And like, that's the video game. And they're just like not very good. Right. My point in saying that is that this cash cleaner simulator is like not one of those games. It actually does feel like there's enough mechanics going on that it is actually pretty fun.
Sure.
The pitch of the game is essentially that you like wake up in this place. It doesn't exactly tell you where. And there's this person over like your phone that calls you and is like, hey, what's up? You're a cash cleaner now. And your job is to clean this cash that we throw down this pit. And that could mean a lot of things. It's like oftentimes, you know, they'll throw it down there and it's just like a pile of money. And they're like, all right, we need you to stack this into $10,000 and we want them only in $100 bills.
Sure.
And then I want you to ship that to us in a backpack or something like that. And so you package it up, put it in a backpack, and then, you know, put it on this little conveyor belt and it gets delivered. And they pay you in cryptocurrency, baby. So you get some sweet crypto.
Some sweet Trump.
Oh God. Yeah. Mercifully, it's not like a real coin, thank God. And that's kind of where you start. And then it obviously starts layering on other mechanics of like these little contracts you can take. Some of them will be like, okay, this time we want no wet money. And then you're like, what the fuck is wet money? And then they'll throw a backpack down the pit that's like wet, like just with water. And you're like, what happened? But they'll eventually give you like a dryer. It's like, okay, well, that's a new problem I have to solve. Or there's money that's like dirty, like literally physically dirty that you need to clean.
Gotcha. So they said money laundering, but made it literal.
Yes. I think that's genuinely what's going on here, is that you're doing money laundering, but it's like you're actually putting it in a washer and cleaning it.
Cool.
And so like, there's a lot here. One, I think that the level of the mechanics that they put together do end up feeling pretty satisfying, because like you eventually are able to buy like money sorting or money counting machines. And so it's like, you just kind of need to like gather it and clean it enough and then put it in these little machines that'll like make it very easy for you to accomplish like what you want to do. And then it's kind of just on you to get like organized enough to do these missions, right? Because genuinely, a lot of the time, the money is delivered to you in just a big fucking pile. You know, like it's money rains down from the sky and then you have to like sort it, essentially. You were talking about a game that feels engaging enough to just be fun while like not being so demanding. This is exactly what this is for me.
Sure.
Of just like, I can just kind of like work on it nascently in the background, you know? And that's what this is. So yeah, there's that. And eventually, like, you know, there's all sorts of stuff that they're putting in there. Like you have to sort out like fake bills and stuff like that, or bills that have been marked by certain like gangs or the FBI or something like that. And yeah, so it just adds a certain amount of complexity to it. So all of that is true. And I think builds up to being a game that I do find pretty fun. And there's a lot in here that's going to depend on your taste, right? So like, if you don't like these kind of games that feel like work, you're not going to like this one, because it is work, you know, like it is just organizing a workspace and trying to become more efficient. You know, that's a lot of what's going on here. It's definitely not an automation game necessarily, because there isn't a lot you can do to fully automate this stuff. you definitely can make it easier for yourself, but like it's not a Satisfactory or a Factorio where at some point you will have like very little to do with the whole process. You still have to like press the button on the cash counting machines to like pack the money into little like bags and chunks and stuff like that. So there's always going to be something like that, but it, you know, it shares some stuff in common with it for sure. I think it also definitely has a tone that might be kind of allergic. Some people might be allergic to it.
I see that. Yeah. I'm watching videos.
You know,
of
like it's there. You get it. It's obviously like, you know, whenever you like finish a quest, it plays like a fucking sick ass trap beat for you and stuff like that. And I think it is a game that I think when you're like maybe young or like, you know, maybe a teenager, early teens or something like that, there's a almost romanticization of like crime and doing drugs and like being a fucking big, it's the appeal of GTA, right? Like why people think that that's like a fun, interesting game or like lifestyle to be interested in, or like why college students still have fucking Scarface posters on their dorm walls.
What if
no
one could tell you what to do?
Yeah, kind of. It's that kind of vibe. Yeah. And this game isn't that, because like you are kind of an indentured servant in this world. Like you just get dropped in here and you can't leave. Like it's very clear that like you are here to do this work, and that's kind of it. And there is a story to some extent that focuses on that stuff. So like it's not totally devoid of things to talk about, but it's not like a Scarface story where you're like, you know, rags to riches kind of thing. But it does have the tone of something like that where it's like, or at least like the background assumptions of like, isn't like having a lot of money fucking cool? You know, like, or just counting $100 bills. Isn't that kind of sick?
It's cool stuff, man.
Yeah. And so like, to me, that kind of reads as a little juvenile, but like, I don't think this game is really trying to say very much. So like, I kind of don't take it seriously, you know? It's like, it just kind of feels like the coat of paint that's slapped on top of it. And yeah, like, you know, if I was to truly like sit there and interrogate, like, is this like endorsing crime? I don't think so. Like, it doesn't really feel like that to me in the same way that like Mortal Kombat isn't endorsing violence, you know, like I don't think someone's truly going to like rip someone's spine out, you know?
You say that now.
And plus like, yeah, I'm going to encounter the spine ripper tomorrow. No, hoisted by my own petard. No. But yeah, it just kind of seems like it's taking on the aesthetic of what's popular, you know, and like this kind of thing feels a little popular, you know.
It's a little pandering.
Of course, like a little bit, yeah. Of course, like art is a reflection of society and like the circumstances and stuff like that. So like this isn't anything new.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like, this isn't a new thing completely. But you know, like even the inclusion of like crypto in here feels a little bit like, but it's, you know, it's the world we live in. That's like that could be a real thing, you know? So I don't like, point being, I just don't really interrogate it that much because I don't think it's asking to be taken seriously. I think the aesthetics of this game are ridiculous and silly, and that's just kind of it. Like there's nothing else really to it. But I will say the one thing that I was sort of bummed out about is that the game is kind of short in a way that I wasn't expecting it to be. And it's like, it felt to me like once I was actually getting my whole thing figured out, like all of my setup worked out, and like I got all my cash counters in the right spot, and like I'm separating out my euro and yen and dollars all really well, that the game was over at that point. And I was like, oh man, that kind of stinks. Like I was hoping to get like one more step beyond where I was at that moment, and it just sort of ended at that point. And like I'm a person who likes short video games. I host a podcast with AJ and Kim specifically about tiny little games.
Yeah.
And like, that's the whole deal. And so like, it is not necessarily that to me, a bad game is short, or that like, I felt like I didn't get my money's worth or something like that. But to me, I was like, I felt like I just got it figured out. Like I was just getting rolling, and like they could have introduced like one or two more mechanics and had me work that out before like ending, or at least going to like what would be the end game, you know?
Sure.
And so like, yeah, I say that all, or like the preamble there just to say like, I'm not a person who needs a game to be a certain length, but I think for what what this game was intending to do, it was shorter than I feel like it should be.
Gotcha.
It doesn't make the whole thing bad by any measure, but just like, I think I wanted it to explore the mechanics it was putting forth just like a touch more. And so I was a little bit bummed out to be like, oh, I guess the game's just over. There is like an endless mode that you can just keep playing, but like, I sort of need the mechanical hooks of like, you're going to unlock cooler shit as the game goes on. You know, like that's why Factorio and Satisfactory are very fun to me, is because like, it's all in service of like adding one more layer of abstraction to the process of like, I'm going to, you know, I'm trying to build up to these like milestones to the point where like at some point these early things that I'm doing will be trivial. They will be so easy, you know, and that's largely based on like, can I build a good enough system for that to work well? And like, it felt like this game was getting there, but it just didn't really like follow through all the way. And that may be me holding it to a standard of a different genre, because it's really not an automation game. It's more of this like kind of sim game. But even still, I was a little bit like just a let down that it didn't take that one step further, because again, it like with the cash counters and stuff like that, it's like you can buy a machine that counts 3 different stacks of cash at any given moment. And to me, that's like, okay, I feel like I'm starting to kind of like automate a little bit and like, you know, get farther into the stuff that I did. I was like, oh shit, okay, I can do this, you know. I can get down with this automation. But yeah, it just sort of stopped after that. So, you know, I think that there's a difference between leaving me wanting more, you know, like, or like I should say leaving on a high note. I think there are certain games that like are just the perfect length and they go out exactly when they need to. But it just felt to me that like there was more to explore here that like could have been fun, but didn't seem like, you know, they wanted to go any farther, which, you know, it's obviously that's their prerogative, but I felt like there could have been more done. So I enjoyed this game, but you know, maybe not the best simulator game I've ever played. Unfortunately, this has given me quite a few other simulator games that I have started on Steam to play. Now. Oh yeah, and I've purchased a few of them and already so far down the rabbit hole.
All right,
on them.
This is your new phase,
I'll bring those up. Yeah. Again, I think I've played some of these before. I've played, like I said, House Flipper Simulator and Gas Station Simulator, and I think both of them kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. Again, because I was like, am I just clicking the screen? Like, am I doing anything else in this video game?
Yeah.
And I wonder if those might not actually be the best representation of the genre, because I've also since played Pressure Washer Simulator, and that game rules for a very different reason. You know, like it is kind of mechanically dense and you are sort of just doing a checklist of stuff to clean, but it feels way more interactive than the other ones do, because it's like, how do you want to approach this problem? How do you want to clean this specific thing? It is like, you know, like maybe you could call it brain dead, but like I'm cool with that. It's a very fun version of that.
Yeah.
And I'll bring this up next week if we do end up, if I don't have a baby by next week, I'll bring it up. I've been playing, what is it, Grocery Store Simulator?
I was just on Steam and I saw that and I'm like, ooh, that one looks cool.
Supermarket Simulator is the one that I've been playing.
Yeah.
And like that immediately is triggering the part of my brain that really likes to just kind of like upgrade and do better, more efficient stuff.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, you're selling groceries to be able to buy like more inventory and more shelves and hire someone to do the checkout and stuff like that.
Gotta optimize my shelf space, like, baby.
That's the good shit to me. I really do like that. So I'm interested in that. I've also heard that TCG Store Simulator is very good.
I've seen videos of that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got really good reviews. And I think my assumption is that it's kind of got a card draw mechanic in the video game of like, you are also opening packs and trying to see like, did I pull any rare cards? And if you did, then you can sell them, right? And like make it easier for you to do good in the video game. So yeah, I'm like, that would kill me, I think. But I'm almost certainly going to check that one out as well after this. So yeah, that's a cash cleaner simulator. Like, I would say if you're interested in this genre, it's a fun one. Like it's not one of the ones that feels just like, you know, a terrible cash grab or anything like that. Like there is fun to it, but you will need it to be a part of the genre that you enjoy. And also like, you got to be able to get through the tone of it all, because it is a little bizarre. I think it, you know, in some ways just feels like, I think this is maybe for a different, I would say even maybe generation of people than I'm in, as far as like what kind of like video game tone they're looking for. But, you know, if you can deal with it, I think that there's still like a fun game under there.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, that's Cache Cleaner Simulator, Dave.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, David, this will all bring me to my Podtimistic thing of the week.
Which is?
It is being recommended a game from a YouTube channel and the game actually being pretty good. Hey,
David. Nice.
Yeah.
Was this Cache Cleaner Simulator?
That was Cache Cleaner Simulator. Yeah, I got it recommended from Memoria, that YouTuber, who's a very good YouTube channel. I really would recommend checking her shit out. She's hilarious. But I feel like Northern Lion is very frequently just playing some ungodly like deck building roguelike that I'm like, well, I got to check what's going on there. He's the good shit, I will say. Like, just so goddamn funny. One of like maybe the most intelligent streamers, despite the fact he's usually like just shit posting his way through his streams is genuinely hilarious. But yeah, it's I feel like game discovery is almost a skill unto itself, you know, like being able to find a game that you like. And if you find a YouTuber who does like the same games you like, it's always like, oh shit, yeah, dude, like this is great, because like you'll just continue to get games recommended. Kim over on .zip is like very good at this with finding indie games, because she just follows like every dev she can find on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
And then whenever the dev posts something about it, Kim is also reading about it. And so like there is this virtuous cycle where she just hears about more and more indie games. And sometimes it'll be like, how on God's green earth did you manage to find this? Because like the dev has like 20 people following them on Blue Sky and their Steam page has like 3 reviews. And she's like, hey, I found this cool game. I'm like, how in God's name did this happen?
The deepest of the deep cuts.
But absolutely, yeah. And so, yeah, it's like I said, kind of a skill in that it does take some effort to get it going. But, you know, when a YouTuber hits, they hit. Nice. Do you got anything fueling your sense of podtimism, David?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this DK Bonanza Direct. It got me a little pumped for this game. I liked the surprise reveal of Pauline being in the game. Yes. That was cool. That was unexpected. Too. I'm ready to see, hopefully, the creation of New Donk City by the end of this game. And Pauline's rise to power as the mayor of this town, built on the bones of her father.
Building a monument. Yeah, the monument to her dad.
Yeah. And I liked Bananergy. I really liked Bananergy, and I liked air horns.
Yes.
The air horns were used throughout the direct for certain things. And I'm like, this game is going to be wild. It gives me a lot of Mario Odyssey vibes, just looking at how some of the menus are laid out. I'm like, if it's anywhere like even half as good as that, this is going to be a fun game. So I'm excited for it now. Yeah.
Me too. It was the arc of this game's previews has been so strange to me because like the first time they showed it, I was like, I don't know if that looks amazing to me or not.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't immediately kind of hyped in the way that like the first time I saw Mario Odyssey, I'm like, dog, it's on site. Like that is going to be a game that I will play immediately. And I bet it will be very good.
Yes.
Whereas this one, I was like, is it going to be good? I'm not really sure. And so it almost felt to me like we all could feel that like something was missing. And then suddenly they revealed Pauline. I'm like, you've got it. I totally understand what's happening here. And like they showed off enough of the powers that I'm like, I get it. I see where the fun is now. And of course, like being able to go like wander around and find all the like powerful bananas and stuff. I'm like, yeah, dude, like I get it. I get what you're doing here. It's so much more clear like what the game is at this point.
Yeah. Because at first when they just showed like, oh, you can break anything, I'm like, okay, so it's Donkey Kong Minecraft. That doesn't sound like super fun to me. But now I see all the movement options and the power-ups and everything. I'm like, okay, yes, I see why I would enjoy this game now.
Yeah, I totally could just be like making an apocryphal claim here, but like I wonder if they saw the first response to the trailer and like we got to boost this up a little bit because that's like our game is actually better than that. Sure. Or if they wanted to kind of hold it closer to their chest because they didn't show Pauline at all in the first trailer. So like I wonder if they were waiting for this direct to be like, all right, now we're going to hit you with like the actual good shit about what's going to be fun about this game. Because I think they showed Bonanza in like an already kind of busy direct. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to let this stuff sing a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very excited for it. I think it's going to be like very fun.
Yeah. No, stoked. More things to play. More good games to play. Let's go.
For sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I like it. And these video games, man, they're good.
They sure are.
Do you want to move on to our main thing, David?
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. I I have like one speed with drinking liquids, and it is fast.
Go.
Yeah. I don't like, it's not even because sometimes I thought like, is that just like I like beer a lot, and so I drink a lot of beer? It happens with every liquid. Every liquid is a problem for me.
You just like being refreshed.
I think I like to drink, like not to be hydrated.
Yeah.
To have liquid be digested, be moving through me.
I hear you. I feel like I'm the same.
Yeah, because like I'll oftentimes drink way more water than I need to. Like I'll just accidentally drink a shitload of water because I'm just like, well, I got the full cup and I do want to sip, you know?
It's like a oral fixation thing.
I wonder if that's
something to do with my mouth.
I'm having fun, you know? I'm kicking back.
Kicking back, sipping and slurping and snurping.
Welcome to Good Games. It's a segment where we talk about the okayest games of yesteryear and gush all the things that we love about them. And this time, we got suggested a game called God Hand, David.
Sure did. Yeah.
This was suggested to us by Clover. Thank you, Clover. But it was done on, it was suggested by Ponk, listener Ponk. And
I was about to say, made by Clover.
Correct. Yes. It's by way of Ponk. This is the Matt of Trails Through Trails, Legends of Podcast, shouts out, but he had suggested, I think he had taken a suggestion from Clover and just tossed it in our website. So thank you for doing the logistical duty, Ponk, and thank you for suggesting this game, Clover.
Yes, thank you.
Didn't gather any info from them because the email that came with the suggestion said, just do it, Chase. So that was all we got on this one.
Do it.
Had you heard of God Hand, David? Do you know what this game was?
I had heard of God Hand. It had some notoriety back when it first came out. I remember it looking crazy and people enjoyed the zaniness of it, but I never played it. I didn't play it.
Yeah, same here. It was a game that I knew about partially because of who developed it, but hadn't played it at the time. And it's definitely gotten a like critical reappraisal in the past, like I would say like probably 5 years, at least that I've noticed. And that's really, I think, brought it back up in the cultural zeitgeist, is a lot of people being like, was this actually really good? And we just like weren't ready for it in a way. Also, wow, I just saw that Mom Donnie won the primary in New York.
Oh.
Yeah, that's great. I love that.
It's big time.
Shouts out to Zoran Mamdani, a good candidate for New York State Assembly from the 36th District.
Chase says while wearing a shirt that says capitalism on it in bold font.
It says capitalism is voluntary. This is some Hasanabi merch. So if my political alignments weren't clear already, they are now. But also, how you gonna run fucking Cuomo again, bro? The guy just groped half of New York, and
I was shocked when they said that he was back. I'm just like, he's back.
Really? Yeah, it's crazy.
Democratic Party leadership. What is going on, y'all? Got to do the problematic white guy again. Let's go.
Yeah. Can I hit you with some hot stats about this game, David?
Please, yes.
Cool.
Hot stats.
So God Hand, this came out October 10th of 2006. This was made by Clover Studio, which you may know them from Beautiful Joe and Okami are their pretty significant additions there.
Big time studio.
True bangers, some of these games. This was also specifically, a lot of the people who worked on this game were people who helped develop Resident Evil 4 as well. So, Clover, I think, exists within Capcom. And so they had a lot of the similar people floating around, which I think given just literally where the camera sits in the game, you can see kind of the influence of Resident Evil 4 there.
Yeah, I see that.
This was also produced by Shinji Mikami, who's very legendary game developer at this point, was very quintessential in the creation of Resident Evil and Dino Crisis and Onimusha. He was an advisor on, so shouts out to that. And, more recently has been working on Ghostwire Tokyo, The Evil Within. And I think he was an executive producer on Hi-Fi Rush as well. So, he's been around the block for sure.
Yeah.
I do have a review of this game from Jeux Video, an outlet out of France. And they reviewed this in French. I took that review, ran it through Google Translate a number of times, and eventually spat it back out in English, which I will say, David, as a preamble, the name of this episode is in this review. And I'd like to see if if you can spot it.
Oh boy. Okay.
I'll read the review now.
Let's hear
The
it.
Hand of God is not a popular pastime. Open to all sorts of interesting suggestions, as silly as they are, Clover sinks into a sea of paradoxes that, depending on your tolerance level, are endearing, disgusting, or edible. However, we found something that resembles a revolutionary dog show, or rather, the Chihuahua of video games. Less salt. Or more. And they gave that a 7 out of 10.
Is it the Chihuahua video game?
Of course it's the Chihuahua video game. That has to be the name of this episode. I don't see any other alternative.
What did it say right before the Chihuahua video games?
However, we found something that resembles a revolutionary dog show, which I will say that's compelling unto itself.
That's also a good... I heard that one first. I'm like, okay, a revolutionary dog show. That's pretty good. But then you hit me with... with what came next, I was like, no, the that's Chihuahua it for sure.
Of video games. I need to know what would a dog show need to do to be considered revolutionary, you know?
Ooh, this is great. I don't know. I mean, is it revolutionary to the wider populace, or is it revolutionary within the sphere of dog shows? I feel like those are two very different things, right?
Yeah, like
I feel like if it was revolutionary within dog shows, yeah. Sorry, continue.
It would no, it's fine. Like, do they have revolutionary politics in them, or is it a revolution of what dog shows used to be, you know?
Exactly. Is there like one bad boy of dog shows is like, my dog's gonna have long hair for this breed and people are just gonna have to deal with it. It's gonna be cool.
Because like they do that award for like the nastiest, ugliest dog every now and then. And that does not feel like a revolutionary dog show. It just kind of feels like the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
It's like still adhering to the framing that dog shows have done before. And so I feel like to really revolutionize it, you do need to break out of the frame that they have made already.
Whoa. You have to completely reimagine the dog show.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe we're the show now. Maybe the dogs sit in the audience.
I was about to say, maybe the dogs show the people.
Yes. Yeah. That they find the coolest guy, the coolest dude, and then show him around the stage. And then they judge the dogs judge who is the coolest person up there.
Yeah. Who's got the best smell? Who's got the best treats? Throws the best balls?
I think we got it. Or the Chihuahua of video games. Could you tell me what God Hand is, David? How do I play this game?
God Hand's the Chihuahua of video games. Do I need to say more?
Yeah. Done deal. Segment over.
Done deal. Segment done. No, God Hand is a third-person beat-em-up game where you go around various environments just beating the ever-loving hell out of random people and demons. It's a very combo-heavy game and has a very unique control scheme as well, in that you don't control the camera, but with anything, it's pretty much controlled for you. The right stick is essentially a dodge button, so dodge forward, dodge side to side, or like lunge forward. And then the left control stick is typical, controls your motion. And then you have a bunch of different, face buttons are just attack, punch, kick, grapple, I think is an option as well. Is that what circle was? No, circle. There was no grapple button, was there? No.
I think there's a grab button, but it comes up like contextually sometimes.
Yeah, circle, that's right. Circle is the contextual button. And then you can have two very fun things to do, which is either you can activate your God Hand, which just means beat the shit out of somebody mode, essentially. Just go 100% like Bruce Lee on them and just demolish them. Or you can do these roulette special moves where you press a button and then you wind up and have to quickly choose between a bunch of different special moves, like which one you want to do. And then you can do like an area of effect attack, you can do a range attack, you can do one just big bash on one person. So they're fun in that you can pick and choose which one to use depending on the situation you're in. But yeah, that's essentially the game right there.
Yeah, it's really hard, this video game.
This game kicked my ass pretty hard. Yeah, they were not pulling any punches.
No, and I like initially. So first off, before we dive super deep, I wanted to set the stage that like the reviews for this game are all over the place, like totally across the board. It's like some people gave it like a 10, some people gave it like a 3. Like it is is so inconsistent as to how people appraise this game, which I think is kind of thrilling in a way. It's very rare, especially from this era, that opinions differed that much. Usually like scores that low were kind of reserved for like games that just technically wouldn't work very well, you know, like things that didn't perform at all. And so like to see those reviews be so different was kind of exciting in hindsight, because I also know that like this has kind of had a reevaluation in recent years. But I say that as sort of a preamble to the fact that like I think this game is so a matter of taste, and the difficulty being that hard initially to me was kind of an indication that like I think I may need to think about this game kind of different than I would a lot of other games, and that it's not necessarily something that was common at the time where a game is just hard, right? Like it's just hard for being hard's sake, and not like Dark Souls hard where there's like, if you can learn it, it's fine, but it's just like this game is kind of cheap, you know? And I don't think that's the case here. I think it is just really challenging, and it is asking you to learn a very different way of playing these video games, you know? Like I was not dodging very much the first time I played it. That's a stupid move. You need to be dodging a lot in this game.
All
like
the time.
It's all the time. I was also playing kind of safe in this game, and like you kind of need to be aggressive in this video game.
Absolutely. Aggressive and dodge, and like just always be doing something essentially.
Yes. Yeah. And so like point being, I think that this is a game that once you lock into it, it is very fun, but it will take a second to like get there, or at least it did for me. Was that your experience as well?
It was, in that I was going along, beating people up, having a good time, and then I was noticing my health was getting low, and there was no more health to be found, and there were just more enemies coming at me, and I'm like, I could handle like the first 10, but I thought there was going to be more health here. So I was letting myself get hit maybe a little bit more than I should have. And so that was a common theme for me, in that it wasn't necessarily that each individual fight was hard. It was just the amount of enemies that they would send at you was just a lot, and you had to really be aware of your spacing in this game to make sure you minimize the chance of being hit. Otherwise, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, again, speaking to its complexity, like spacing is not something I really think about a lot in like character action games like this, you know?
Yeah.
Unless we're talking about, I think, what this genre would eventually go on to be in something like Sekiro or like God of War or something like that, where you do need to be very considerate about spacing. But this one is almost to the point of being like a fighting game, you know, like you need to be very careful with your approach and like make sure there's enough like area between you and the people around you, and you kind of like kite them around the area so that they're not all surrounding you and just beating the shit out of you or whatever. But it did require quite a bit more thought, because I did the same thing where I was like almost expecting the game to give me more health at a certain point, and I'm like, dog, I got nothing left. I got no health left. What am I supposed to be doing here?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think in a different game, and maybe even a less confident one, they would just give you health to be like, well, you should get through here, you know? But it really reminds me of how Beautiful Joe treats health, because it's very uncommon in that game too. They really want you to just not get hit very much in Beautiful Joe.
And that can kick my ass too.
Yes. Yeah. And to me, it just feels like that they're pretty confident that like you can get good at this if you want to. And that's like, it's kind of fun and refreshing in a way that like there's enough chutzpah in their mechanics that they're like, I mean, like let's not baby them here. Like you got to get good at level 1. Yeah. What else about this game? How else did you feel about it?
I really enjoyed how like what this type of game represents. Like it because I mean I've played a lot of like 2D arena fighter games before, and some of those games, like I think there was a Tekken game that I played back in the day that would have like story modes where you'd be running through areas and going up and fighting people, and those always felt so like tacked on and hollow to me, and this feels like this is really always what I wanted that to be as far as execution goes and how it feels to engage in these battles. Because when like in those games like Tekken or something like that where they have this 3D adventure component to the game, it always feels like they're throwing enemies at you as opposed to having each enemy be a specific fight that you have to engage in. And this game really feels like each enemy in their own right is someone to reckon with and to read, right? Not just run at, but to understand like, okay, I think they're going to do this, or it's that type of enemy, so they're going to do that, right? And to try to anticipate and get around them and hit them as quickly and as ferociously as you can. And it's just a very unique type of thought process that I don't know of many other games where I have to have that sort of thought process with this kind of mechanical input with my hands, right? Not many fighting games nail this sort of 3D aspect. And I think that's very commendable. I was very impressed by that. And it's very fun. Once you get, like you said, once you get rocking with it, you're just smashing the hell out of people in pretty glorious ways. And it just seems to revel in the insanity of it all. It kind of reminds me tonally to Kung Fu Hustle. Did you ever see that movie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just in how the fighting is portrayed and how it goes from being like very realistic in one second to just like over the top zany the next, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's true. The story itself is, and like the tone of it is bananas. Like you essentially show up in like a Wild West town and just like beat ass for a while.
Yeah, it's never explained why you're in like the American West, right? But you are, and you're just beating the shit out of people immediately.
Yeah, who also like turn into demons from time to time.
Yeah, if you beat one of them, then they'll turn into a demon afterwards. You're like, okay, cool. I guess I'm being demon ass now.
Yeah, there's like a whole backstory with like the God Hand being like a clan of people that have been like passed down from generation to generation, and like demons used to be around a lot more. I think it was like a fallen angel, the demon king Angra, and like invaded so Earth. It's amazing. And somebody who had the God Hand defeated Angra. So point being, like the tone is just like over the top and ridiculous. It also reminds me a lot of JoJo in the tone of it for sure, especially the kind of the steel ball run, like cowboy shit. But also just the mechanics all feel very JoJo. When like you're really dodging and like moving from one dodge to another, it feels so JoJo to just like someone is throwing all these punches at you and you're just like completely dodging out of the way the whole time. Or
the Hamon is flowing through you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Or when you do like one of those contextual combos and you like stomp on someone and then you eventually just start stomping on them faster and faster and faster. Feels very JoJo as well.
It's so good.
Just like there is a synthesis of comedy and combat in a way that like it just feels very JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to take both of those things and make them into something else. It is also interesting to see like how the legacy of a game like this still sticks around, because like again, this genre was common at the time, but it kind of fell out of favor for a little while, like the character action game. And I think like, you know, around the God of War, Sekiro era, and even like you could say Dark Souls to some extent, like they really came back in a big way. And so it's bizarre to see it here being treated as seriously. And again, for it to be reviewed so poorly at the time, it's just so strange. I either think like the taste for it wasn't there as much, or just that like, I think honestly, my assessment of it too is that like, I think just people sometimes in this era saw difficulty as a bad word, just because like there was so much progress away from the like Nintendo era of difficulty for difficulty's sake. And so if something was hard, then it would be like, well, that sucks. That's not a very good game. Or if it felt like there was some kind of part of it that felt cheap in a way. And I think since that time, like games have gotten better, or at least maybe consumers or players have gotten better at distinguishing like, is the game hard on purpose because I haven't learned the lesson yet? Or is it hard because it sucks? You know, because like those two things are very different. Absolutely. I think you could play Dragon's Dogma 2 and be like, this game is too hard. Or you could learn the lessons it wants you to learn and be like, I see what needs to be done here. And it's very satisfying to play that game. Yeah, exactly. There's also this interview with some folks from CyberConnect 2, which is a video game company. And they specifically said that they made Azura's Wrath as almost like a spiritual successor to God Hand. And I see that. Really feel that like with having played this game now.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just insane power fantasies. I'd say Asura's Wrath is definitely definitely an easier game.
Yes, definitely.
But I see the common thread there for sure. We need more God Hand likes.
I mean, yeah, I to some extent I do think that like it's with us. Like Sekiro is the thing that comes to mind to me when I think about like a modern version of this kind of game.
Sure.
Like just really like in the enemy's face, you have to be very careful and considerate and like thinking about what you're doing.
Agree, but so much of Sekiro is that dodge and counter and thought process, whereas this is not so much. I mean, dodge, sure, but you don't have that parry, and that really makes it feel different than Sekiro to me, at least.
Sure, yeah.
But I see what you're saying, just close quarters combat, and I don't know if I even want like a parry in this game.
Yeah,
I think that would make it feel very different, right? I like that it's just hit or dodge. It's even simpler.
Yeah, for sure.
A little bit of blocking,
yeah.
But
yeah. Yeah, it's a fun one. I really enjoyed my time with this. I think that there's like a lot of mechanical depth here that I kind of wasn't expecting, but I should have seen that coming given the connection to Clover and Beautiful Joe. And this was also the last game they made before Clover shut down. And so like, you know, it is kind of their culmination as far as like all the games that they've made up to this point, which is sort of a bummer. Like they really cranked out some good video games in those like 3 years that they were around.
Awesome.
Yeah, I saw this review. I'm just on the Wikipedia right now. There's a quote that says, "What an epitaph for Clover Studio. We made one of the best games of all time, and it was just a game about punching people." so fucking funny. Yeah, so I was reading this review from, I think it's 411 Mania, and there were these two reviews, again, just showing you like the difference in how even two people view it. But Seth McCabe gave this game a 9.6 out of 10, and DW, another reviewer, gave it a 5.5 out of 10. Like, wow. Just the disparity between those. But DW had said in the review of the same site, it's a shame that this had to be Clover's last title, but if God Hand was the best they could do, I can certainly see why they're not around anymore. Just so brutal and unnecessary. Like, aren't they allowed a whiff even if this was a bad game? You know, like they not built up enough goodwill that like even if they do kind of a stinker, which I don't think this one is, like that they just shut down. That's an insane sentiment.
Yeah, they deserve to starve and die.
Yeah. But it is such a shame because I feel like, you know, a studio like Clover should just keep existing, and we should get like, I would love it if they put out a worse video game than this, if they were just experimenting, you know, because there's so much creativity here, and just like even in the control scheme, it's just so weird. And I have come to appreciate that kind of stuff because it is just like, it feels so much as if the established ideas of how to control a game are not here, and they're just kind of trying shit out, and that's really fun. I really enjoy when a game is like, let's control differently. Like, what was it, the Gung Fu game, the John Woo game, or whatever it was.
Oh, Rise to Honor?
Was that the one? Yeah, the one where you controlled the guns with like your right stick or whatever.
Oh, are you talking about the one with Jet Li?
Rise to Honor was the one, Jet Li.
Yeah. Maybe it was called Jet Li, Rise to Honor.
Sure was. Yeah, that's the one where you use the right analog stick to direct your blows towards a certain character. Just like shit like that, where it's just like they're just trying something out here. That I really appreciate that. I think that there's something to be said for like establishing some norms in how video games operate, so that like there is a common shared language of like, here's what some UI could look like, or here is like what movement could feel like. But I think the more you restrict yourselves by what something should feel like, the more you kind of restrict yourselves in how you can be creative as well. And again, I think that's why a lot of these reviews are so all over the place, because like it's just landing for people so differently that like it hits okay for some because they're like, oh yeah, that control scheme makes sense, or this the way the game is set up makes sense. But for some, it's like, absolutely not. This shit sucks.
Yeah.
Famously,
I could see. Yeah.
I was just going to say, famously, IGN gave this a 3 out of 10.
3.
Yes. Yeah.
Damn. That is not a 3 out of 10.
It is not a 3. It is certainly not a 3. Like,
I'd say this is a good game even by today's standards.
Yeah. Again, like ranking a game in a numerical scale is I think a fool's errand. But I think even still, like a 3 almost to me reads as like, you shouldn't even try this. Like, it's so bad.
Yeah.
And like, I think even if this game didn't land for you, you should still try it, because it is so bizarre that that like it might be something you love. Like it could be a game where you fire it up and you're like, this is such a bizarre experience, but I actually do like this a lot.
Yeah. Give it a shot at the very least. It's shotable.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of the people also who worked on this went on to go work at Platinum Games. And so like, I think if you're a fan of those games, yeah, you should try this. It definitely, you can see the DNA for sure.
Most definitely. Just good action. Good action, baby.
Good action games. Yeah. Do you have anything else to say about this game, dude?
No, I had a lot of fun with this game. It's great.
Me too.
It's crazy. It's a crazy kind of fever dream game. And I enjoy that.
Like most of Clover Studios, this is kind of a fever dream of a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was a little worried when I fired it up of like, oh my God, am I not going to like this as well? But you got to try it. You got to give it a little bit more time.
Am I IGN? Oh no.
Thank you, Clover, for suggesting this one. I wonder what their name is based off of.
I know. It's a very meta recommendation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the suggestion. This is a fun one.
Yeah, thank you. If you would like to interact with the podcast more, you can go to podtimism.com and check out all the things we have on there, such as old episodes. You can check out our podcast cover art that Chase makes for each episode, which is cool. You can look up games we have maybe talked about in the past if you're interested in what we have to say on them. And you can also suggest a game for us to do on there as well. There's going to be a break here in a second, so maybe we'll just play a bunch of those games and just see what we can do when we come back. So yeah, go there and check it out. And also on our website, there is a link to a Discord for the Worst Garbage Podcast Network, which we are a part of. So you can go on over there and check out some other really cool podcasts about all sorts of things like games or life or books even, right? There's cool stuff there. So go check it out.
There's cool stuff there.
It's a cool website and it's a cool group of folks on there. Thank you, Scout Wilkinson, for our podcast art. It's beautiful. We love it. You can check out her art and try to get a commission from her at co-fi.com/humblegoat. And thank you, dear listener, for being here. We appreciate it. It's pretty cool that you're here and you're listening to all of our ramblings and ravings and our gushings about things. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate you listening. It's a great service you do us.
Yes, absolutely. Chase, do you have any video game wisdom for us this week?
Yeah, revolutionize your local dog show, I think is the move.
These dogs are tired of capitalism. They're ready for the revolution, okay? Arm these dogs. Get these dogs ready to fight. Revolutionize them. These dogs are barking about needing to control the means of production, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Very, very woke dogs.
It's Fox News' worst nightmare. The dogs have turned against us. My God.
Yeah. Hey, fucking, we got 2 wins today. One is revolutionizing dog shows, and the other one is probably a new mayor for New York.
Good times. Good times. Congrats. Well done.
Yeah. Well done. Jesus, that was a little spooky. Okay, we will see everybody next time.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
TWG, the worst garbage, the online.